please, the members of Election Petition Tribunal ahead of 2023 general election matters receives capacity building training. Residents in Calabar Metropolis benefit from World Health Mission free medical outreach. Plus, State Police Command solicits partnership with key stakeholders to combat crime. Details shortly. Good evening and welcome to Nta Calabar News. I am Erika Ivy. Now the news and details. Judicial officers who will be adjudicating on 2023 post-election matters are in Abuja to prepare for the tax ahead. In the next 4 days, they will be brainstorming on ways of ensuring that all verdicts are in line with the law, as well as reducing conflicting judgment from tribunals. Dele Atumbi of our judicial desk reports that justices of the Court of Appeal are also attending a capacity building workshop to enhance the performance of the court in various divisions across the country. The Cross River State Police Command is soliciting understanding and partnership from key stakeholders in renewed vigor to counter criminalities in the states. Commissioner of Police Suleiman Balarabe said this when he played host to journalists in the state. Odialeyo reports.
For some years now, the high level of criminalities and kidnapping, which was the case in Cross River State, has to a large extent been checked by the sting operation of the State Police Command. This feat is what the new Commissioner of Police, Suleiman Balarabe, says will be sustained with renewed vigor to align with the Inspector General of Police vision to tackle criminalities professionally and in line with international best practice. The Commissioner solicits partnership with the media and critical stakeholders in Cross River State to safeguard lives and property of residents.
I wish to solicit enhanced and robust partnership from members of the public, all existing institutions, and corporate bodies to safeguard lives and property of every citizen alive.
The state chairman of the Nigerian Union of Journalists, Nta Calabar, says it is in the best interest of the media and the public to collaborate with the police for a crime-free society.
We trust the capacity of Nigerian police. I want to commend the effort of the police command and urge them to do even more.
He applauded police for curbing criminalities in the state. In Calabar, Ode Alenyo, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the Commissioner of Police at Akwa Ibom State, Olatoye Dorosimi, is dismayed at the attitude of some political stakeholders, especially as it pertains to the 2023 general elections campaign. The report is here presented from our studio.
Some unscrupulous persons have left the acceptable norms of politics and are now involved in campaigns of calumny, destruction, and defacing of opponents' billboards and posters. This is not a true reflection of what acceptable democratic tenets stands for. In a statement by the Police Public Relations Officer, Akwa Ibom State, Odiko McDonald, the trend, the CP notes, cannot be allowed to become a new normal. The Commissioner of Police has set up a special monitoring team saddled with the responsibilities of identifying, arresting, and prosecuting those behind these undemocratic acts. The CP has, however, assured all political parties and stakeholders of a level playing ground and has warned those involved in these acts of political sabotage to desist forthwith.
The General Officer commanding 81 Division Nigerian Army, Major General Obinna Ajonwa, says operation of the inter-unit and inter-agency security outfit, otherwise known as Exercise Still Waters, in Lagos and Ogun states have been extended to cover the 2023 general elections and the National Population and Housing Census to provide adequate security for Nigerians. He stated these during his inspection visits to the Exercise Still Water Camp in Abeokuta, Ogun State. Lekan Akbondi reports.
Inspecting the SSIT water camp located at Buhari Estate, Okemoson, along Kobape Road, Abeokuta, Major General Obinna Junwa says the camp is committed to ensuring peace within its coverage areas in flushing out criminals such as kidnappers, armed robbers, cultists, ritualists, pipeline vendors, among others. He explained that the main purpose of the exercise Stillwater is to strengthen the nation's security towards improving security in Nigeria.
It depends on have we been able to achieve our objective. If we have, do we need other objectives that we want to achieve? Possibly yes. And then we also create the situation, a good environment for the election that is coming up in 2023 by February. So all these are interconnected because that is why you see other agencies, because security issues must overlap. So while they overlap like that, we'll be able to achieve our objective. We are doing it so that the populace will have confidence to go about their normal business.
He assured Nigerians that the synergy existing between the Nigerian Army and other security agencies will be sustained for peace and unity among Nigerians.
And away from that, it's a common balance that health is wealth. By implication, poor health condition can hinder the productivity of individuals. And so boosting the health of people in Cross River State or maximum productivity is one major reason a team of medical experts from World Health Mission, United States of America, are in Calabar for a 1-week free surgical and medical outreach. Benny Achibong reports that the treatment is ongoing at the Children's Hospital, Calabar.
The team of medical experts who has been on this mission years back had a setback from 2019 due to the COVID-19 pandemic, which destabilized the innovative mission. The experts pledged on ensuring adequate care from their facilities to families and communities that benefit and advice on prevention of ailments.
After about 2 years, we haven't been here in 2 years, so we're trying to organize ourselves to get started. Because of the pandemic, we couldn't come in, mostly because of restriction and because we didn't want infection to spread. I know that there's a lot of need, and we are here to help as many people as we can.
Some experts say upholding objectivity, ethics, and display of high level of professionalism is the key word.
And I just had incredible respect for the amount that he puts into this. And he devotes 2 years into every year of energy trying to follow his example.
It's always a little confusion in the beginning getting things set up and get running, and then we hope we can take care of as many patients as we can and get everything set up and ready to roll in a safe fashion.
About cases that we see more often, we get to see cases that have to do with women, fibroids, we see hernias, men and women, we see neck masses, thyroid masses, and other surgeries, lipomas, and the rest. We even have an appendicitis case.
Effective medical outreach to the less privileged is the mainstream of the mission. In Calabar, Benny Achibong, NTA News.
You're watching the news reaching you from NTA Studio. You can also watch this newscast from our YouTube channel at YouTube/NTA Calabar. More news when we return. Don't get ready. Welcome back to the rest of the bulletin. The Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, has expressed worry over payment of 18 days in October 2022 salaries to its members. This report is here presented from our studio.
In a statement, President of the Union, Emmanuel Osedege, posits that the National Executive Council of the Union met and describes the development as unprecedented in the history of university-oriented labor relations and therefore frowns at the government's attitude at what it called reducing scholars to casual workers. While appealing for understanding of students, parents, and other concerned Nigerians, the union wishes to pursue positive resolutions within the ambit of the law so as not to get into avoidable crisis.
The Speaker, House of Representatives Femi Gbajabiamila, has appealed to members of the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, to remain calm following their latest outcry over the reported half payment of the salaries by the federal government. This report is again presented from our studio.
In a statement, the Speaker noted that efforts to find lasting solutions to the concerns frequently raised by ASU were on, noting that President Muhammadu Buhari has indicated interest to wade into the latest concerns raised by the union. He said, since the resumption of academic activities, both the Executive and the House of Representatives have worked to address the issues that led to the strike. He made reference to current work on the 2023 Appropriations Bill, which includes 170 billion naira to provide a level of increment in the welfare package of university lecturers. The bill also includes additional 300 billion naira revitalization funds to improve the infrastructure and operations of federal universities, in addition to facilitating the adoption of elements of the University Transparency and Accountability Solution, UTAS, into the Integrated Payroll and Personnel Information System, IPPIS. Gbajabiamila noted that the position taken by the executive was not obligated to pay salaries to lecturers for the time spent on strike is premised on the law and the government's legitimate interest in preventing moral hazard and discouraging disruptive industrial actions, but assured that the interventions have been made to explore the possibility of partial payments to the lecturers. In the meantime, he said a National Tertiary Education Summit will be convened for stakeholders to come up with substantive reforms required to address the underlying issues bedeviling public tertiary education in Nigeria.
The National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, is a very critical establishment and should be removed from ministerial supervision to the presidency. This is coming from the Senate Committee on Special Duties during the budget defense session of the National Emergency Management Agency. National Assembly correspondent Ignatius Nkwa reports.
It was the last week of the 2023 budget defense session at the National Assembly, and the Director General of the National Emergency Management Agency, Mustafa Habib Ahmed, was on ground to defend the agency's 2023 budget.
Capital 774,100,000. Personnel under this head, the sum of 1,077,000,000. Overhead, the sum of 162,152,000 projected for the fiscal year 2023.
I'm sure you have tried your best, and within that your best, we want to know what reliefs you have done.
Special Committee on Flood, headed by Alhaji Aliko Dangote, they have started distributing items worth 1.5 billion naira.
The committee demanded to know the level of the agency's intervention in the 2022 flood and the involvement of states and local government areas emergency management agencies.
It's only National Emergency Management Agency, and I don't think you people will have the capacity, the manpower, the resources, and the logistics you need to tackle this.
I don't think your capital can go far. Because we keep on blaming you, that there is no ministerial supervision that can take care of NEMA.
So I think that you now need to look at this aspect of development of manpower. We're properly trained.
The states are leaving everything in terms of disaster 100% to NEMA.
The agency made case for urgent agric intervention to enable farmers get back to farms so as to avert food scarcity. The managing director of the Federal Road Maintenance Agency, Nuruddin Rafin Dadi, defended the agency's 2023 budget of 31.26 billion naira for capital before the National Assembly Joint Committee on FEMA. From the National Assembly, Ignatius Nkwo, NTA News.
The Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development has commended the Benue State government for accommodating thousands of Cameroonian refugees. Leader of the delegation of Interagency Technical Committee on assessing the managerial situation of influx of refugees to Nigeria, Mudakai Titus delivered the message to Governor Samuel Otom in Makurdi. Charles Abba reports.
Over time, crises in neighboring Cameroon have continued to force its citizens to cross the borders into Nigeria, especially Benue State. It is to manage the influx of these refugees that informed the setting up of the Interagency Technical Committee by the Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development. Leader of the delegation, Mudakai Titus, who appreciated Governor Samuel Otom for accommodating and protecting 12,000 registered Cameroonian refugees in the state, said the challenges that come with influx of refugees are enormous and needed to be properly managed.
The GCR is a framework designed to promote predictability and enhance equitable responsibility sharing, recognizing that a sustainable solution to refugee situation is better achieved with international cooperation. It constitutes a unique opportunity to transform the way the world responds to refugee situation, benefiting both refugees and the community that hosts them.
Governor Samuel Otom noted that Benue State has been at the receiving end of refugees from Cameroon due to proximity and common boundary. He stated that the situation poses a grave concern, especially with the over 2 million profiled internally displaced persons to be catered for.
We need help where we are, today having IDPs, having refugees. It's not an easy task for a state like Benue.
The governor thanked the federal government for the initiative and pledged the state government support. In Makurdi, Charles Abba, NTA News.
Corporate, through a climate solidarity, park Dr. Paris in a collective suicide pact. United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres warns as world leaders meet for COP27 in Egypt. On Engagement Face reports that the leaders' summits will pave the way for negotiations at the climate conference.
Unprecedented floods ravaged states in Nigeria, compounding already difficult livelihood constraints for the likes of Uzaro John.
Almost 100,000 naira. We pay for tipper to carry out cross the river, but now they just drop us for the road and collected the money.
For her sake, the global community is in Egypt for the 27th Conference on Climate Change. It is a conference for implementation of all pledges, promises, and commitments made in the past to check the excesses of climate change.
This is why I'm calling for a universal early warning system coverage within 5 years. And it is why I am asking that all governments tax the windfall profits of fossil fuel companies. Let's redirect that money to people struggling with rising food and energy prices and to countries suffering loss and damage caused by the climate crisis.
Common themes resonating at this summit of world leaders are those of climate finance and loss and damage, where developing countries insist that those in the developed world whose industrialization activities generated the greenhouse gases that are warming the planet should support the adaptation efforts of developing countries.
Although we contribute to the tune of less than 4% in terms of greenhouse gases, Africa is behind low carbon development. We're fighting for climate resilience. We think this has to be a goal so that we achieve carbon neutrality by a reasonable time frame.
When delegates rise from Sharm el-Sheikh Uzaro, John, and the other millions impacted by climate extreme would expect never again to suffer this tragedy. In Sharm el-Sheikh, Egypt, Onengiye Fine Face, NTA News.
But before we go, a recap of the top stories. Justices and members of Election Petition Tribunal ahead of 2023 post-election matters are receiving capacity building training in Abuja. Residents in Calabar metropolis have benefited from a free medical outreach of the World Health Mission. It was also in the news that the Cross River State Police Command is seeking the support of key stakeholders to combat crime in the state. That is the news tonight. Do have a lovely night. Thanks for watching. Good night.